Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent. My name is Jaggerus, and in card games, as a patch starts to get a little bit older and people are starting to get, a bit kind of bored with it, I think it's very important to have decks that are really fun to play. Decks that are quite creative, they're not necessarily very serious meta decks, they're not maybe very consistent, but they're fun to play. They're fun. You're getting a bit sick of ranked, then you can go into casual, play this deck, and just kind of make yourself feel a bit better. Just kind of cheer yourself up a little bit. So today I have a fun deck for you guys, and that is Francesca's Fat Roach deck. And my actual name is Francesca, so this just makes this even more amusing for me. But this is the Francesca's Fat Roach 420 deck. So you need Francesca, which is a free leader, so that's fine. And this deck is all about Roach, the horse card. This is Geralt's horse. She's actually a really good card, a legendary card. Plays on a random row from your deck or graveyard whenever a gold card appears on your side. And we're not actually going to have just one Fat Roach in this deck. We're going to make two Fat Roaches, you guys. We're going to make two Fat Roaches. So this is a kind of silly deck, but it's really fun when it works. Because you have cards like the Vreehead Dragoon, add 4 strength to a non-gold unit in your hand. What you actually want to do here, this is the one situation where you don't want to mulligan Roach. Every other time you see Roach in your mulligan, you're like, get rid of her. Just go back in the deck. No. On this deck, we go and find Roach. We're going to find Roach. We're going to make her fat, right? So basically, you get Roach. You buff her up with the Dragoons till she's really, really fat. And now, what's better than one Fat Roach? 2 Fat Roaches. So then you use Operator to duplicate your Roach, which gives you 2 of them. So then you have 2 Fat Roaches. Yes, it gives your opponent a Fat Roach, but, sharing is caring, you guys. Pass it on the left-hand side. But then, once you've got your 2 Roaches, you can then put them back into your deck with Francesca. So then you use Francesca's leader ability to shuffle those Roaches back into the deck, and then you can redraw them by playing a gold card. So there's kind of synergy going on here. That is the kind of gist of this deck. It's completely hilarious, and it's kind of a lot of fun. So, in terms of gold cards, I like to run Milva simply because you can use Milva to draw Roach. Basically, if you play Milva, Milva then plays Roach if you have played no other cards. So Milva plays Roach, because it's gold, and then Milva, obviously, you return the strongest non-gold, non-relentless unit to your hand. So this is like an extra way to find Roach. If you don't mulligan, get her in the mulligan. If you get Milva, you can then draw her and start buffing her up. Then we have Saskia. Saskia is just a really, really good legendary Scoia'tael card. It's probably the best legendary Scoia'tael card. I really like her. We've got Isengrim because we've got loads of special cards in this deck, so having some special card synergy is nice. And similarly, Aglace because we have lots of special cards, including Scorch, because what would be a Fat Roach deck if you couldn't blaze it? Let's be serious here. So yeah, we've got Scorch in here. Alza's Double Cross you can use to draw the Operator. So Alza's Double Cross will give you Operator. So you can basically use this to play this to duplicate this. Is the gist of it. If you've already drawn Operator, you can use it to draw a Marksman or a Dragoon or a Archer, depending on what you have. Decoy is really nice. You can use it to obviously replay your Dragoons, buff Roach some more, make that Roach even fatter. If we're doing a Fat Roach, guys, we've got to do it properly. We've got a Lacerate in here, which is just, useful counterplay. Similarly, in Elza's Thunder. And we've got 3 First Lights. Now, the First Lights are nice against weather, but also they're good for just thinning your deck and trying to find your Dragoons. Because obviously, if we want to make a Fat Roach, we've got to find the Dragoons. On top of that, we've got the Elven Mercs. Play a random non-gold special card from your deck. So these will play a random special card from your deck. So you can use these to try and find the First Light, for example. Though bear in mind, this could draw Scorch or Alzar's Double Cross. Then we have 3 Don Blather Archers. These are not too high value points, so then they're not likely that you'll Scorch yourself because, they're only worth 5. Often people play stronger cards than that. They also remove 3 strength. And then we have Don Blathana Marksman. We've got one of these. And this is just in case you don't find your Fat Roach, you can use your Dragoons to buff your Marksman instead. She can be played on any row. So, if you don't happen to find the Roach to duplicate, you can make a Marksman. It's not as good of a strategy, but it is a viable one if, you don't get the draw that you need. The last card we have, I didn't mention, is King of Beggars. King of Beggars plays the weakest non-gold unit from your deck. Now, that would be Roach, except obviously we're going to try and draw Roach. So we can then use King of Beggars to play an Elven Mercenary, which will then play a special card and also thins our deck, which is a nice kind of option. Anyway, this is the Fat Roach 420 deck, and without further ado, I'm going to jump into a game. And if you like this deck, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, guys. Okay, so we've got Dagon, which could be Weather or it could be Consume. In terms of the mulligan, we're looking for Roach or Milva. Basically, these are the kind of cards that we want to find. We've got Roach straight off the bat. You can see it along here. And what that means for the mulligan is we're now looking for more Dragoons. So we'll mulligan a Archer. And we got Scorch, which is really nice to have in hand as well. We can also mulligan the Marksman, because we're not going to need to buff her. We got a First Light. Having a First Light against this deck is really nice. We'll mulligan this other Archer as well. Try and find some Dragoons or Elven Mercs. Okay, we didn't find Operator. That's the only other card we wanted to find, or Alza's Double Cross. But we're not likely to play that until the second or third turn anyway, so this is completely fine. We've got a First Light in hand, which is nice. We don't know if this Dagon is running Weather or Consume. It kind of goes either way. Like, Dagon is just such a good monster leader. Now, you'll notice I have this program running here on the left called, this is Gwent Tracker. And what this does is it tells me which cards my opponent has played. I can turn that on or off. And I've also got up here what cards, you know, I've got left in my deck. So when I play my Elven Mercenary, I know exactly what special cards are in the deck, so I know what they're likely to find. That's kind of the gist of this here. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll throw out our Dragoon.
Onward, Freihead!
And buff our Roach. Now, we don't want to risk using an Elven Mercenary to draw Alza's Double Cross. That's the only thing we have to kind of be a little bit worried about, is that's not something that we really, really want to do. So what we're going to do for now is we're going to play Isengrim. What this means is that if we play special cards, we start spawning units. The only thing what this means is that we're going to have to find a golden card before the final round. But as we have a mulligan, you know, this is pretty nice. Now, Arrakis Behemoth is a pain in the butt. So what we're going to do here is we'll just zap it. We'll just get rid of that. And you'll notice that that also triggered the Commando Neophyte to draw a card. He's got another one. We can potentially Scorch this one, but it's possibly not worth doing. Now, what we could do is we could play... We need to play King of Beggars or Elven Merc. The thing is, that is going to risk giving us Operator, which means that we're not going to really have two Fat Roaches. These are one of the situations in the deck that could happen. But I think, in the grand scheme of things, it's worth it. Because hopefully we won't get Alza's Double Cross from this, and everything will be Gucci. And there you go. I took a risk. I knew I had more, you know, thing special cards than... like non-Alza's Double Cross cards than Alza's Double Cross cards. But it is something that you have to be a little bit careful with as you play your Elven Mercenaries. The other thing to be aware of is this row is quite stacked, which means he may, you know, weather me. Okay, so he's played Katakan and he's starting to trigger the spawn effect. The thing is, we do have, obviously, the Lacerate, so I'm not too worried about this. We also have the Scorch. We could Scorch the Katakan. I'm actually going to just rally here. The fact that he's kind of stacking rows means I don't think he's going to use his weather, so I don't really feel too bad about doing this. We will shoot. We can still Scorch this, so there's no real point in scorching this. And we can Lacerate this, so there's no point in doing that. I think what we'll do is we'll just shoot the Behemoth. And all of our Neophytes are going on one row. But it's a row that he probably doesn't want to debuff too much because it's full of Arrakis. Okay, so this is where the Lacerate is going to be, you know, really nice. We're going to get 15 points of value. Actually, 18 points of value because of Isengrim. And you can see here that we're basically buffing our Roach during this round, whilst also, you know, stacking quite a decent number of points on the board. So this is the first round that you want to win. And then the second one you can win with all of your crazy Roach strategies. So you can see he really wants to trigger this kind of double effect. Like, he's trying to start the kind of eat cycle. We're going to risk getting Alza's Double Cross now. We didn't get it, which is good. We got an Archer. So we'll pop this over here and shoot this. The only thing to be aware of now is that I have literally nothing I can do to stop him from, you know, messing up my middle row. Like so. But as it is, we're still ahead of him. We can...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay. Alexis is just talking to me. Alexa, whatever it's called. I don't think I said Alexa, but it is what it is. So we can actually Scorch both of these 10s here, which is really nice. So let's just do that.
Now we will see.
And you can see we got another Neophyte. It means he might Frost the row, but I don't think that'll give him enough points. That announcement has kind of put me off my game. So you can see he's trying to get card advantage. His plan here is just to try and get card advantage. We got Milva. We could use Milva to redraw. What is our strongest card? An Elven Mercenary, but we don't really want to do that. We can pass now. There's no point giving up, you know, him even more of an advantage. We're on 50 points, he's on 16. Like, he's not going to catch us. The Avalanche is definitely him kind of conceding this round. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter if we don't draw Operator or Alza's Double Cross here, because what we can do is we can play the Elven Mercenary, and then hopefully find one of them. Like, find the Alza's Double Cross. It's that or the Decoy. So we've got fairly good chances of getting Operator and duplicating our Fat Roach. Oh, we drew both of them. So what is this going to draw me? So we won that round. We actually want him to go first. We're going to start messing with his card advantage. That'll draw me the Blathana Marksman, basically. So I know what I'll get from that. It would have been nice to see more Dragoons. Like, it would have been nice to make the Roach even fatter. But sometimes, you know, it's not to be. What's he going to go for? First light. So I guess he doesn't really have a strategy here. What we can actually do, though, is we can just kind of waste time. The thing is, if I play Elven Merc, I'm going to get Decoy. And Decoy's not really that useful. But what we can do here is play Milva. And if we play Milva, he'll redraw his Ekamara. What that does mean, though, is he can trigger the Eat effect again, which we don't really want to happen. So I think what we're just going to do, we'll throw out Alzur's Double Cross. That'll pull up our Marksman. We'll play her here. And we can actually then shoot the Ekamara. So we actually got 15 points out of that Operator, which is pretty nice. Not Operator, sorry. Double Cross. We've got Milva in hand, so we can use Milva to redraw the Marksman should we need to. Should we feel like, you know, we want to shoot something else. But whether, you know, we feel the need to do that or not depends on really what he draws. Because there's certain things we don't want to put back in his hand. Though, if we duplicate Roach and he plays her, we can then use the Roach to... what am I trying to say? We could use the Roach to... We could use the Milva to make him basically draw the Roach. As it is, if we play Milva, he'll draw a Necker and we'll draw a Marksman. It'll reset the Necker down to 5, but then, you know, we won't really get that much value out of the Marksman. So this is the kind of question that we're asking is exactly how do we want to play this? You know, Decoy, for example, is not that useful because we don't have Dragoon or our Archer. I think we're just going to go on with our Roach strategy and just accept the fact that, you know, we're just going to have a... Not quite that fat of a Roach. So we'll duplicate Roach. He now gets an 11 Roach. But the thing is, if he plays the 11 Roach, which he might do here, we can then just make him redraw it. And in making him redraw it, he loses points. So this is kind of where it gets interesting. The other thing we can do now is we can use our Francesca ability to mulligan our Roaches back into our deck. And that's where we're going to try and find Saskia or a Glace, which we can actually use then to draw and play the Roaches. Because if you use Milva to draw and play the Roaches, often you then pick up one of the Roaches again, which is kind of annoying. So that's not something that you want to do. But you can see this is a bit of a complicated deck to play, and it's kind of fun in that way. Like, you kind of got to think on your feet, and that's, you know, really fun here. The alternative is what we do is we Milva this. He takes this back into his hand, and he loses 8 points from it, and we get the Marksman back into our hand, but we lose 3 points from her. That is a potential option. But we can always do that later. So first...
My folk have suffered much.
Francesca time. So let's see what we get. There's a Glace. There's Saskia. Elven Merc is basically going to guarantee my draw of Decoy. But we don't necessarily want to play Decoy right now. This is the question. I don't... The problem here is that we're probably going to draw Roach on our next draw. I think we'll leave it at that. We guarantee the Decoy play, which is nice. So then if he does end up with anything too strong, we can decoy it. Because what we could do here is Elven Merc the Marksman. That's going in the front row. This is alright. So we can Elven Merc.
Have strength, my love.
Decoy the Marksman. We'll put her out here again. And then we'll shoot the Necker because we can make him redraw the Roach. So this is fine. And at this point, it's now actually okay to Milva. The only problem is if I Milva, it's going to play my Roaches. And I don't necessarily want to win this round because, you know, he's quite a few points ahead of me. So really what we're doing here is just drawing out his cards. The more cards that we can kind of force him to play, the better. Because on the next round, what we're going to do is we're gonna use these 3 golden cards to win the game, basically. So I'm just trying to draw out his cards, and then we'll do our win condition for the final round of the Fat Roaches. And we can pass. The only problem here is he's going to be keeping a 19 Ekamara, but we can Milva that 19 Ekamara back into his hand. So that's also an option that we have. It's not really worth, you know, maybe going for it this round. Although we could actually Scorch the Ekamara as well. That's the other option that we have. You know, our Roaches are only 11 strength Roaches, I think. So we can actually play a Glace into Scorch and Scorch his 19 strength Ekamara. And that's a nice play. We didn't draw a Roach, thank God for that. You know, we had 2 Roaches and 2 other cards and we didn't draw a Roach. So that is quite appreciative. Normally you put the Roaches back into your hand on this round. We did it on the last round to try and draw more cards out of him. Okay, so time for the fun to start. There's a Glace, there's 1 Roach, there's another Roach. And blaze it! We got Fat Roaches, and then we blazed it, you guys. The other thing we can do is we can make him pick up. We can make him pick up a Vran Warrior. That is something to be aware of. we have that option. As it is, though, we're going to just wait and see what he does. Whether we choose to play Milver or not, we're going to lose a lot of points from the Milver. So, you know, well, we'll lose a bunch from the Roach. So it's not necessarily the smartest decision. So we do want to just wait and see what it is that he has to play. I can't believe he debombed my Fat Roach. I'm so glad they didn't land on the same row. That would have been painful. Oh, Saskia's here. Your Grave Hag is dead. Sorry about this, buddy. No Grave Hags for you. So if we play Milva, he'll redraw the Vran Warrior, but yeah. That's game. And that's kind of the gist of the Fat Roach deck, if you get good draw. I want to just kind of point out that, you know, you're not guaranteed to get good draw. Sometimes you won't find Roach. You can try and, you know, do strategies with the Archer instead. You know, sometimes it might be hard to find your double cross. Sometimes you're going to risk, you know, scorching yourself or drawing Alza's double cross too early because of the Elven Mercs. And that's kind of the fun part of the deck is every game is really different. And it's an inconsistent deck. But it's really fun to play. And I can make jokes about Francesca's Fat Roach. Like, what's not to like? What's not to like about this deck, you guys? But yeah, if you like this deck, hit that thumbs up button. Like I said, this was a deck that was suggested to me by my Twitch chat. So if you want to watch me live streaming Gwent, I do that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at twitch.tv/Jagras. I start at 11 a.m. CEST. So that's when to catch me streaming. What else? Oh yeah, this is Gwent Tracker. So if you're interested in Gwent Tracker, www.gwent-tracker.com. There'll be a link in the description. It's totally fine to use. It's available for PC. You basically just run it and then run Gwent, and it gives you these overlays. And you can do custom things, like you can see your win rates with different decks, for example, and all that sort of thing. So, for example, my casual win rate with the Fat Roach deck... Oh, I haven't been tracking it. I can't tell you what my casual win rate is. But you could. If you were interested, you can find out your win rates and stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Jagras. This has been very silly, but very fun. And hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic day. Bye.